morning, everybody. We apologize for the delay. Today is Hot Seat Friday, and we are having technical difficulties again. So my hot seat guest is Jennifer Schultz, and so she's joining me right here in the thread. She's at a hotel, right? Entrepreneur life, and the Wi-Fi is not cooperating with her. So it doesn't matter, right? We got to be resourceful, we problem solve, and here we are. So for Hot Seat Friday today, like I said, we have my friend and colleague, Jennifer Schultz. She's here in the thread, and I'm going to support her just live that way. And you guys also, please feel free to throw in questions. Hot Seat Friday, I'm taking your questions. The topic, for the most part, this last week or so has been around goals and how to keep your focus, how to not, get off track. And in Jennifer's case, really, like, how do I get going again and create a pathway one step at a time to kind of get back in the game, right? And if you've ever been out, if you've ever, like, for instance, I took off, or not took off, but after I sold my fitness center, I was off really for a good year. And so then, meaning, like, I sold it, we were traveling, just my husband was working. I was doing some side stuff, but I didn't really have a full-on business or full-on job. And so how do you get started again, right? Like, how do you get back into that groove so that you can get back into doing something that you love? And for me, that time was a time of reflection and figuring out what I wanted to do next, which is what I'm doing now. So Jennifer, I'm going to have you post in the comments what your question is, or give us a little bit of background so that everyone in the audience can resonate with and understand what's going on with you. So just go ahead and type in the comments. So Jennifer is an entrepreneur, and I'll let you tell us in the comments what you do, Jennifer. And she's actually been having some medical issues that have kind of pulled her out of the game. And so that can really mess anyone up mentally, right? Like, how do you connect in a way that has you believe that you can get back in and that you can create what you want, you can get fired up, you can have the confidence to go all in again when you've been out for a certain number of months or years? Has this ever happened to any of you? Have you had that feeling where you're just off your game, or you're off your game, or you've been out of it, or you want to make a shift into something else? Has that ever happened to you? Thanks, Evram, for letting us know. And so Jennifer, we're just waiting for you to type your comment or question. There we go. I've had health issues for the past 3 years, had to stop working. So I'm getting better and ready to start working again. Okay, Jennifer, so what is coming up for you? What is the best way that I can support you today around your mindset, around confidence, about getting re-engaged? What do you feel is the sticking point for you right now, or the challenge? And by the way, I acknowledge you because it's very brave, right, to even put yourself in the hot seat, number one, and to share vulnerably with an audience of people that you likely don't know. And number two, it's also brave to come back after you feel like you've been out of it for so long. And, Jennifer is a part of a community of really driven entrepreneurs and people who are doing a lot in the world. And so, this is a big deal, right? So Jennifer, where are you most stuck? Hi, Catherine. Hi, Robin. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Isidro. And the rest of you, if you can relate, or if you have anything similar going on, please jump in and type your question in the comments so that I can support you too. There's a little bit of delay when you write a comment in order for me to see it. So just be patient here. And Jennifer, you have not been out for a full 3 years, correct? I know you've been struggling with health issues for 3 years, but you've been kind of in and out. Is that correct? And so now I know in the last year you've mostly been out. And so we're so happy to know that you're feeling better enough to get back in the game. So go ahead and write your question in there. I know Jennifer's having a lot of problems with her Wi-Fi right now. So I'll just jump in while she's working on that. So over the last couple of days, we've been talking about how do you take a belief, a recurring belief, or idea. She just texted me that she has zero connection. Okay, type it here. So how do you take an idea or belief that you've had? And so for instance, in Jennifer's case, I'm just going to make an assumption. It could be her idea that turned into a repetitive thought that became a belief over the past few years is I'm too sick to work, right? So how does she now get back into the game, because that's what she wants? How does she now get back in while she still has that repeated belief on replay in her mind about I'm too sick to work, right? And so yesterday I shared a couple ways that we can actually rescript those and reshape those, right? Because here's the truth. If you want to create a specific result, you cannot do it based on past thinking. You cannot do it based on evidence that you've collected in the past. So perhaps for her, she hasn't been able to work because she's been sick, but it doesn't have to be her truth going forward. And so how do you rewrite your story? Jennifer's back. Awesome. Go ahead and type your questions in, Jennifer. I'm scared that if I work, I will relapse. That was basically what I just spoke into. I had a feeling that it was that. So in thinking about how do we actually create a result, how do we actually get where we want to go, what is required? It's not just hard work, right? It's not just writing out a list and like checking things off, right? We've all figured that out, and we've talked about that in the last week and the last couple of weeks. So for Jennifer, here's what I'm going to share with you. I get it. You're scared that if you start working again, you will relapse. And that comes from the fact that that has happened to you in the past, correct? That is something that happened to you in the past. So do you see how that past evidence that she collected is coming back in to her thoughts, her psyche? Then she's having feelings associated with that, because whatever we focus on, we then feel. And so then she's bringing that in to the future that she wants to create. She's bringing that old belief, and it happened. It's not something she made up, right? But in order to create a different result, she wants the result to be that even though I start working again, that will have nothing to do with my relapse. I get to get out in the world and do something that is meaningful to me. So Jennifer, share with us in the comments what it is that you do. I want you to share it with the world. She does really, really incredible work that is very unique, actually, and is very needed, and she's great at it. So if you want to create a new result that then you've created in the past, right? If you want the reality to be, I start working again and I am healthy and vibrant, and regardless of if I work or not, that will not lead to my relapse. If you want to create something else, we've got to create a new belief about that and start to create new evidence. Does that make sense, Jennifer? Yes, right. Okay, so here's what you do, and I'm going to write it in the comments. Step 1, start with your bigger purpose, right? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You've got to get deeply connected to your big vision and why it even matters to you, right? Because here's the truth: whether illness is something that comes up and is a challenge for her on this journey, whether that's it or it's something else, because things come up, right, in all of our lives, family, we have death, we have divorce, we have, in her case, like serious illness. The truth is something is always going to come up along the way. So if we're not connected to our bigger purpose, the big reason why we're doing this and the big vision that we want to actually manifest, if we're not really deeply connected to that and why it matters to us and what we stand to lose and the world stands to lose if we don't pursue it, if we don't have that as our foundation, then it's really easy for everything else to crumble. So my first question, Jennifer, is, are you really deeply connected to your why, to your bigger purpose for what it is that you want to do? And maybe it has to be tweaked now. Maybe it's changed and shifted, right? A lot of times what we find is that an illness or some other like tragedy or something that happens in our life can actually be, if we're listening, can actually be teaching us that there is a shift that we need to make. Does that make sense? So during this process, Jennifer, what have you uncovered? What have you uncovered about yourself that has perhaps changed or shifted your big vision and big purpose? So Jennifer says, I produce fashion galas for philanthropy, and I have a Leave a Legacy show. Yep, that is being taken to Roku this January. So you guys see how what she's doing in the world is really huge. She has an online styling program for entrepreneurs. I mean, it's really unique. And Jennifer is very connected to philanthropy. So she's got like a bigger why, right? And you said, I thought I was. I believe this has happened for me to make a bigger difference. Right. And so you get to go deeper with that, like asking yourselves the questions, okay, God, what has this past 3 years or this past 3 year, what has it been teaching me that I now can plug in to the work that I'm doing in the world? Right? So it's getting connected to that bigger vision, that bigger purpose. And then it's setting, right? Like think about the bigger vision. You don't have to figure out how you're going to get to that big vision, because the big vision, may be something far out there, 10 years, 20 years. Remember, it's not up to us to decide when things are going to happen or exactly how they're going to happen. That's God and the universe's part, right? We're co-creating. The co-creation begins with us putting our vision out there and getting really connected to it. So doing things like a vivid vision session, that's, something I've been talking about lately because I've been doing a lot of them for people. Amy Yamada, who is one of our colleagues, just did a vivid vision session with her for her Big Dream Big event that she has coming up. And there was some things in between, fears and limiting beliefs, that we were able to pop during that session and get her really connected to the feeling of what it is that she desired to create. So if you can tap in to moments like that, you can start to pop those fear bubbles, Jennifer. So you want to spend time in that creative space. And then it's setting a goal, right? So perhaps you have a goal just for a year from today that supports your bigger vision. And then how do you break that down, chunk it down and just to smaller goals that you can manage right now? Because the worst thing that you can do, and I know this is a fear for you, is to jump in and just go balls to the wall and burn yourself out, right? Because we're talking about, this thing is driving me crazy. We're talking about a health issue that you've come back from. So oftentimes people think when I get back in, I've got to do everything. But if you can give yourself some space to realize it doesn't have to happen overnight, everything doesn't even have to happen in a month or in a year, right? If you gave yourself that space, because think about it, here you are 3 years later, you're still here, you still got the drive, you still got the desire, right? So 3 years can go by quickly. So what if you let yourself off the hook with it has to happen tomorrow, and allow yourself the space to do it in a way that you're able to check the box, so to speak, meaning small, one step in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other, small accomplishments along the way. So let's see, Jennifer, let me check in. I've never felt this type of fear in the past, even when I started my company and had no clue what I was doing. But now there has been fear, and I know that it is not from God. I am taking baby steps. I'm saying no to a ton of events. Yes, and making sure that everything I say yes, perfect, perfect. So you're on your path. You're on your path, Jennifer. So for this fear piece, what I'm feeling for you is it's so deep rooted right now that it really has become a belief. And so what happens is what we focus on and we believe, we start to actually feel. We produce those emotions in our body, which then reinforces it, right? So you're collecting more evidence and creating more evidence. So what I'm feeling for you, and let me know if this resonates and feels like this would be the thing to help support you. What I'm feeling for you is exactly what I just spoke into, is being able to get into a creative space with someone else even who can support you in this, to recreate what it's going to look like and feel like in this achieved vision that you have. And what happens when you create that is illness and pain, or any of the things that you've been feeling in the past few years, or burnout or fatigue, they don't become part of that new vision. And I know that it's not something that you intentionally are putting into your vision, but when we have the fear that if I go to work again, I'm going to get sick again, I'm going to relapse, that emotion is planted and attached to your goal. Right? So you've got to somehow break that. You've got to break it. And there's, I do this in Vivid Visions. There's other people who possibly do it other ways. So you've got to get in there and recreate the feeling. Tony Robbins teaches it in a way that you go back to a moment in time where you created a specific fear or belief about something, and you actually change the past. Like, you go back in there, and it's a really powerful process, and you actually recreate, you change it, you reshape it, you remold it. That's what's so amazing about our mind and our ability to really shape our future, is you do have that ability. You have that ability to go in and reshape and rescript and direct the experience that you want to have. So you do not have to believe that in order for you to produce results in your business, that you have to relapse, or that you have to even burn out, or that you have to do it the way you did it in the past. Because a lot of times that's where it comes from, right? I coached somebody on this topic the other day, that she had a belief that if she went to make a certain amount of money, it would be at the expense of her health and everything else, because that's what she did years ago when she created that result. And my coaching to her is the same thing I would say to you and anyone else listening right now. That's the way your experience was then. That's how you were operating then. That doesn't mean that's how you have to operate this time. There are many ways to achieve the same thing. There are many ways to get to a destination. It doesn't have to be the way that you did it before. What if you took a different route? Does that support you, Jennifer? I would say yes to you always. Even though you can't see me. I can't see you, but that doesn't matter. So Jennifer says, I'm allowing the space to happen and small accomplishments. And that's enough. That's enough, Jennifer. Can that be enough for you? Can it be enough that it's small steps along the way? Would that release some of the fear or the pressure that you're possibly putting on yourself? Let me know if that supports you. And anyone else, let me know if this conversation has supported you, if you can resonate to not wanting to do something again because in the past it created a certain result. I want to say specifically before we hang up with this call, oh, I'm glad, Jennifer, that's supportive. I did this in my own life this year. I decided to go back and pursue being a professional athlete, a professional bodybuilding athlete. And I told myself from the beginning, made the decision in December and told myself, this time it gets to be easy. Like, this time it will be easy. I'm going to do flexible dieting. I'm going to, like, all of these things. I just put it in my mind that this is going to be easy, even though I'm growing my business. And I almost tripled my business this year. So even though I'm going to do that, I'm still going to easily be able to plug in my training, easily follow my diet. I'm going to have fun along the way. Like, I made the decision, and then guess what? Like, God just put the opportunities in front of me that it so happened to be that way, because I decided it first. I decided it first. And that's not the way I decided, 3 years ago when I was competing. Back then I thought it had to be tough, was so tough. And so it's a decision. It's a decision. And Jennifer says, I have seen that I can do this different. Ding, ding, ding. And that's all you need to know, Jennifer. You can do this differently. You can do it on your own terms. Often I find that when we are trying to do things the way we think they should be done, or we're following other people's a model or whatever, we end up being in this push that is not genuine to us. And so if you can find a way where you can do it differently, where you can do it your way, and put the support around you of people that can help you do it your way, and relieve some of the pressure on yourself of when it needs to be done by, then you're in a whole new frequency, a whole other energy of trust, of self-love, and you get to be playful about it. I know that about you, that you're a playful, fun person. So how do you bring that into it? So thank you, Jennifer, so much for sharing this topic. And yes, it will be easy. Awesome. I will see you guys on Monday. Monday. It's the weekend. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. And it's still not too late for you to drop questions here. I will see them, and I will come back throughout the day and respond. Thanks so much for being here. Have a great weekend. And if you want support with being able to create a new result, a new reality for your future, then all you need to do is send me a private message, and we'll see about getting you scheduled for a call. Okay, guys, bye. Have a great weekend.